Luke Acree. Am I saying that right?
It's Acree, but I hear Acree all the time, so don't worry about it. No.
Okay, no worries. President of Reminder Media, sales fanatic, marketing evangelist, and an expert team builder, Luke has worked with tens of thousands of independent business professionals over the years, helping them understand how to connect with their client database in ways that generate leads, secure repeat clients, and drive more referrals. Along his path from software engineer to leader of a multi-million-dollar company, Luke has used his uncanny ability to solve problems to deliver solutions that drive revenue and foster success for service-based sales professionals across the country. You've spoken at Inman Connect, the Disrupt Tour, and appeared on several podcasts. You also co-host your own sales and marketing podcast, Stay Paid. Welcome to the podcast, Luke. Thanks for joining us.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you for having me, Amanda.
Yeah. Well, I was up until about 11 o'clock binge listening to your podcast last night. Before I knew it, I was like, my living room's clean, my kitchen is clean, and I've listened to 6 episodes of Stay Paid. And it's really,
and
really
the
good.
that we deliver it at it.
Yeah, really good. And I guess maybe we can just dive in. I'd love to hear your backstory. How did you get started into the world of marketing and sales? And specifically, I know a lot of Reminder Media's client base are real estate agents, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So Reminder Media actually got started within real estate, but I'll take you back a little way. So I was actually growing up, I was homeschooled. I came from a family of 8 kids. We had a band, and I thought I was going to be a musician, thought I was going to be in the Jonas Brothers type idea, because I had a band with my brothers, the Acree brothers. That didn't work out. Love broke up the band, as it normally does, and we weren't that good. So that was probably never going to work out. But I went to community college, actually, and spent 2 years in community college doing computer science, doing a certificate in computers. Realized that I had a little bit of a knack for computers, and noticed that, hey man, the tech companies, those are the companies that are making money. Those are the companies that are selling. Started a company with my brother called Nextmark Design, which was a website design company. That was my first foray into what you would call marketing, sales. Started doing that. At that time, my uncle, he had started Reminder Media. And he had done Reminder Media. He had been going for, I think, like 8 or 9 years at that point. And so he was kind of a mentor to me. And we were doing Nextmark Design, and he sold me on joining forces with him. So we did Nextmark Design for about 4 years. So about a decade ago, I joined up with Steve, my partner in crime here at Reminder Media. And I always tell people, man, God's just blessed us. It's been an incredible ride over the last decade. We've grown from like 40, 50 employees to 220 employees. We worked with about 38,000 clients last year, a lot of them in the real estate industry. So it's been amazing, kind of the journey we've been on and the ups and downs that it's taken us on, but it's been an incredible ride.
That is awesome. Well, maybe you can tell us a little bit more, like what exactly does Reminder Media do?
So, what I share with people is, how businesses really, really struggle. And I think they're losing income, a significant amount of income, because they're not successfully following up with their database. So everybody knows they have to follow up. I never have to sell people on the idea of keeping in touch with your clients, keeping in touch with your leads. But all of us have that pit in our stomach that guilt that we know we've gotten a lead off of Zillow that we didn't call enough, or we didn't touch base with enough. We have a past client that we haven't spoken to or talked to in 4 years. Everybody has that same guilt and that frustration. And so what we saw in the market was this problem where everybody knows they have to follow up. So the question is not should you, it's just how. How do you do it the most effectively? And the systems that are out there, they're not bad, but here's the reality. How many people have signed up for a marketing platform or marketing system that they don't use? And I would guarantee you, if we could see the hands, I know everybody's listening to this, but if we could see the hands, even myself, right? You sign up for these systems that you never use. And then the ones you do use, they're so complicated. They have so many features. You have to set up so many things about them that you end up using like 10% of the feature set. And you get subpar content going out. The quality of the emails are more WYSIWYG templates and they look poor. The content's not very good. So that's really what we do here at Reminder Media. We step in. We want to actually take care of automating your touch points for you. But our kind of our unique way of going about it, kind of how we flip the coin on its head, is instead of giving you just templated stuff, we actually give you really unique content. One is actually a magazine that we create a magazine for you, customize it for your business. And what we have found over the years of doing this is because we simplify it for the business owner, but don't sacrifice on the quality, we end up generating referrals for them. They create raving fans out of their database that come back and give repeat business. It's really been incredible to see that, hey, when you focus on giving value first and not actually focus on just transactions, that's what actually nets the business for you.
Wow. Okay. So that's, I guess, did you guys create your own CRM, or are you using a different one?
So it's a great question. So internally for our company, we actually have our own CRM. For our clients, we have an account interface where they can keep track of their contacts and they can keep notes on their contacts. But our whole strategy is we'll partner with CRMs, right? So you might be using, I don't know, a Referral Maker CRM or a Chime CRM or whatever. What we're doing is we're actually taking care of the touch points for you. So we're actually going, hey, here are your contacts. And we want to nurture Amanda in a way that actually showcases that, hey, you care about Amanda, you want to give her value, and you want to build your brand with her so she thinks of you and not, your competition or something like that.
So what are some examples of those touch points that Reminder Media does?
Yeah, so I'll give you kind of our flagship is a customizable magazine, right? So it's a 48-page coffee table publication. It is all about like celebrating life in America, travel, art, food, home design, things that your clients will love and engage with. But the unique thing about it is it's your magazine. So there's not competitive businesses in there, competitive ads. You're not paying for a full page spread in the magazine. It's literally your magazine. You get to customize the covers and the tear-out cards in the magazine with your brand and messaging. More than just the obvious info. So everybody's going to put their picture on it. Everybody's going to put their logo. You can actually customize it down to the individual you're sending to. So there's a letter on the front inside cover where you can write a personal letter to the client that you're sending it to. So if you knew my wife, Megan, and I, we're actually having our first kid come February.
Oh,
so if you knew that, you could get into your account interface. You could write a personal letter. That letter would go to Megan and I just in our magazine. And every other magazine can be unique, or we'll actually write that stuff for you. So that's one of the ones that we do that comes through the mail. And then of course we want to be holistic, right? When it comes to marketing, we want them to see you through email, on social, through text, in the mailbox. And so we translate that. We have a digital version of the magazine that a lot of our clients love for their social content. They love to use it through email. And then we also have a feature called local events, because as a service-based sales professional, especially real estate agents, you want to be tied to the community, right? We've all heard that. So what we do is we actually curate for you the local events that are happening in your area. So if you're in the King of Prussia, Pennsylvania area where I'm at, we're going to curate the local events that are close to you, not just the concerts, though we'll throw those in there, but things like the Philly Cheesesteak Festival or the beer festival at King of Prussia, the play at the Walnut Theater. We'll curate those for you. We have a local person that will look and understands that market and truly pick the local events, and then put that into an email format for you to be able to send to your clients as a touch point to say, hey, Amanda, here's the events that are happening in King of Prussia this weekend and next weekend. And what our agents do is they use it as a way to get to know their clients more, but also connect with them. So I could easily go, hey guys, I'm going to be at the beer festival in King of Prussia. If anybody's going to be there, would love to see you. Here's some of the events that are happening this weekend. And that's one of the other touch points that we do digitally and on social that connects you to the community, but also gives value to your database in a way where they don't just throw it away or perceive it as just marketing.
And it places you as the authority figure in your market, the go-to person. If somebody's curious about whatever's going on, they're like, oh, she knows, because she knows everything because it's in her magazine.
She's the influencer.
So you've got the magazine. How often does that go out, or is new content generated for that?
Great question. So the magazine goes out every 2 months. So it's 6 times a year. We actually have 2 different magazines. So we have the lifestyle one that I talked about, and then we have a health one called Start Healthy. So if your client's more into health and you love fitness and healthy recipes and all that stuff, you can send your clients the health magazine, which is going to have more healthy recipes, fitness tips, things like that. So that goes out 6 times a year as well. And you can switch at any point if you think your clients would prefer receiving the Start Healthy version of the magazine or the lifestyle version.
Okay. So the flagship, you've got the magazine. What else does that, I mean,
Entail?
the touch
Yeah.
points?
So, yep. So you have the magazine, then you have the digital edition of the magazine, then you have local events that you're doing. Then what we call is our branded post application. So what that does is we have a library of content. So over 2,000 pieces of content that we have in a library for you that you can share across your social media. So all of your social media pages, it's going to be fully branded to you. And there's going to be a lead form on that content as well. So let's say you're a real estate agent for the sake of example, and you share the 10 things to do to improve your home. That lead form, then you can make the button say, would you like to know what your home's worth? And they can click that button to obviously request what their home's worth. So we give them that. We give them the scheduling ability through our interface to be able to schedule out. But what we do that's unique is we will give you actually what you should post. So if you're someone that doesn't want to think about what to post, we actually give you a map of, hey, here's what you can post this month. We actually write the captions for you too. Now, I encourage people, put your little spin on it, put your flavor on it. But if you're not a writer and you need something to get kind of the wheels turning, we'll write the captions for you and you can share that across your social. And then what we do is that's the social component. So you have all this content that you can share. And then we turn that stuff into what we call is like an email newsletter for you to send to your clients as well. So it's a ton of relevant content that's seasonal based, that will update all the time, that's very applicable to the people that you're sending it to, just as another way to get in front of your people. In all, between our magazine, digital magazine, local events, branded post, email newsletter, social content, we can do up to 66 touch points per client per year. So if you've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you know it's like 33 touch points. We can do up to 66 for you per client per year in order to help you build that mind share with that, potential client.
Oh my gosh. And that's like the hardest part as a business owner is like there's so much to do all the time. And like for me, it would be like being a real estate agent. I'm so busy working with my clients and I don't want to post to social media. I don't want to create the content. Like I can do it. I've done it before, but after being in the business for 7.5 years, quite honestly, I just don't have the capacity for it anymore. So going just kind of sidebar. I was listening to an episode that you did with Kristen Mashore. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. She's awesome. And
Yeah. She's a fireball. It was amazing.
yeah. So you guys talked a lot about, and I would like to get into scaling. I feel like for real estate agents, like we all wear a ton of hats because we're CEOs of a business. We're the accountant, the bookkeeper, the financial advisor, the transaction coordinator, the social media content creator and poster and engager, and the, not to mention the 350 emails you get a day. It is a lot. So, do you help agents kind of create a framework and walk them through how they can kind of baby step themselves into scaling so that they can have time in their lives to take care of themselves and their families, and then of course have that spill over into caring and loving on their clients?
Yeah, no, I love that question. Actually, our vision statement at our company is helping people live a life of freedom, right?
Mm.
Because people don't get into real estate to make more money; they get into real estate for freedom, right? And it's the way you get into any business as an entrepreneur. Scale is such an interesting question because it's all about the art of really delegation and knowing, like, hey, what is it that only you can do? So, like me as the leader of Reminder Media, what are the things that only Luke can do within my business, and everything else I should try to figure out how can I delegate or partner out, right? So maybe it's your marketing. Maybe you can hire a firm like Reminder Media to take care of your touchpoint marketing, so you don't have to do that. So you can do what? Well, only you can be the person that is maybe the rainmaker right now in your company and meets and greets with the clients, right? Because maybe you don't have a team or whatever it is your situation is. For us particularly, what we do with our clients is we give each of our clients a marketing coach. So when you sign up for our program, right, not only are you getting products, but more important than the products really are the blueprints. Like, how do you successfully use this to generate ROI? And in that 20-minute welcome call, we want to learn about Amanda's business. Like, hey, how many transactions have you done this year? How long have you been in the business? What's your main goals? Where's your main struggling points? What else are you doing in marketing? Right. And from there, we have a whole resource library with trainings and content and all this stuff that can help people in different situations because everybody's in a unique situation. But most importantly, it's also to inspire people that, look, there is no perfect system. There is no magic bullet out there. The best system is the one you use. And I encourage everybody that's listening to this is that if you're struggling with the having to manage a million different things and all this stuff, I would say don't worry because you're just like everybody else. Like, welcome to the business. Like, this is what it is. But what you want to get better at is you want to get better at the art of going, how do I build processes and systems so I can actually step away from certain things? So, maybe it's like where most of your time is consumed is in when you get the actual listing is all in the processes to get that thing listed. And so you should actually sit down and create that checklist. Like, what are the things that you do every single time for each listing that you get, and have actually a checklist? I guarantee you, if you at least have a checklist, you're going to have freedom. See, most people make the mistake that they think that freedom is not having to be structured and being able to do whatever you want whenever you want. But actually, to get that freedom, you actually have to be insanely disciplined and structured. And so I would encourage everybody that you should have a standard operating procedure for almost everything in your business, right? So if it's the listing, you have a checklist of what you're doing with the listing. If it's your marketing, you have a checklist for that. From there, once you've developed the checklist, that's what will point you to the systems that you can use, the delegation that you can do, the assistant hiring that you can do. I heard a great example of hiring an assistant. I think it was from Tom Ferry, who was talking about basically, how do you know what your assistant should do if you hire an assistant? And he goes, well, do this red light, green light, yellow light exercise. Write down everything that you love to do in green, on the green light. Write down everything that you don't hate doing, but it's not necessarily what you love to do in yellow. And then write everything that you hate to do in red. And there's your job description for your assistant. Whatever in red and maybe flows into the yellow a little bit, that's your job description that you're going to write up for your assistant. And so it's all about creating the checklist so you can then build the systems that help you scale.
Yeah, because for the most part, there's only a few things that we really need to show up for. Obviously, the reviewing contracts. I mean, if you have a licensed assistant, this is for people that are maybe don't have a team, don't have a licensed assistant. But ultimately, people are hiring you, not for your assistant. And so, like, for me, I feel a lot of pressure, not all the time, because I do think I deserve a vacation like last week. I feel a lot of pressure to be the one that shows up all the time. And if you have these systems in place where you, like, say, I have 2 listings just going live next Thursday. And right now I'm kind of working on what you're saying, because for the first time I do have a licensed assistant. I do have an amazing team that can kind of just take what I say and run, and I don't have to do as much, but it appears as if I am, so that I really can show up and focus my time and energy and mental energy. Because what the biggest thing that what you said is, if you have a checklist, like, by you just having that checklist, you're freeing up so much mental and emotional energy, just knowing that you don't have to remember it, so that you can, those are the people that wake up in the middle of the night and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do something. And it's like, you don't have, that's a reactive way to run your business instead of a proactive way. And so I think that, do you guys help people build out those systems that are unique to those agents? Because everyone obviously has their own way of doing things. do you have a team that kind of helps just sit down with somebody that's like maybe a little artsy and a little crazy and like a little all over the place like me, and just go, okay, settle down there. What's the first thing you do? What's the second thing? What does that look like? What does that, do you guys have?
So, I mean, it's a great question. We do from a marketing standpoint. So my company, obviously, that I'm in every day and run every day, is more geared towards marketing. So like we'll help you with your systems when it comes to your prospecting, when it comes to your client nurturing, and help you think about, well, how, like if you're going to target a neighborhood and go and do farming within real estate, how many times should you be in touch with the farm? What type of campaign should you be running? And then also, like, I think the key is like not reinventing the wheel. So like, do we have certain thoughts on what a real estate agent should be doing and what we've seen work? Absolutely. And we want to apply what we've learned. But a little bit of what I would encourage everybody is that, it's really been done before. Do you know what I mean? Like there's people that have gone before you in your office right now that you could probably talk to, that you could buy a cup of coffee with and literally say, hey, walk me through your system for how you do a listing, or walk me through your system for how you take care of your clients or nurture your clients. Like they are probably more than willing most of the time to actually sit down with you. And the same goes for like in the books, like I mentioned Millionaire Real Estate Agent a little earlier, like that is full of principles and processes and structures that you can start implementing. I don't think as a real estate agent, you have to go out there and reinvent the wheel and there's a specific process for you. You want to find a process that you'll use because that's the key, but you want to more focus on like, hey, what's worked for other people? And let me implement that. And then your own personality will actually tweak the process to be more towards you naturally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So when you say the marketing end of things, are you talking about, I mean, obviously getting in front of your database and your sphere regularly? Are we also talking about boosting paid ads and generating referrals from that marketing piece of it? And is that strictly social media?
So I think when it comes to like prospecting, we do have trainings and stuff. So all of our clients in the resource library, like Josh, my CMO, and I did a training the other day where we walk people through the 3 ads that you should be running as a real estate agent right now on Facebook. And we literally walk through the Facebook ad manager and show you literally how to set up the ad. Now, we don't get paid for it from the perspective of like, we're not running your ads or trying to sign you up for an ad service right now, maybe in the future, but not right now. We just want to give it to people so they can see that training and know what to do and point them in the right direction. I think, when it comes to like a marketing system, if I can share with people, like for your marketing, what are the 3 things that you have to have in your marketing system in order to generate leads and generate referrals? The 3 things are you have to have a system that will consistently put you in front of the audience you want to be in front of. Right? You have to be consistently in front of people. Why? Because this is the first time you're meeting me, Amanda, right? This is the first time you're seeing me. So your level of familiarity with me is low, even though you've seen, but it's higher than most because you've seen me on Stay Paid, right? You've seen me on my content before. You've seen me on social. So you have a little bit higher level of trust and a little bit higher level of familiarity because you've seen my content. But the first time you meet somebody, your level of familiarity and comfort is very low. Consistency breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds comfort. And people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust, i.e., they're comfortable with, right? So you got to be consistently in front of people, and you want to find a system that will do that. If it's a mailer, don't just do a mailer one time. If it's social media ads and Facebook, don't just target the area one time and expect you to get a bunch of results. But the second thing you need is you need impact. Right? So you can be consistently in front of a person, but if you don't have things that are impactful to them, you're not going to get their attention. And I could be consistently keeping in touch with you and Buddy the dog there, right? With pieces of junk. And it actually would put me in a familiarity that's not good. Like you would recognize me as someone who spams you or someone who's not very good. That's how you would become familiar with me. So how do you become impactful? So if we think about it just as an example's sake, for your referral database, right? The people that should be giving you referrals. The hack that I always give to people, like if you look at your database of past clients right now in sphere of influence, ask yourself this: do I know the Ford method on all of these people in my database. What does Ford stand for? Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And the reason I always challenge people to ask themselves that, because if I know Amanda's family, then I know she has a dog buddy, right? All of a sudden I'm connected to you a little bit more. I know how to talk to you when I call you a little bit more. I know what to chat to you on your Facebook page, all these things. If I know what you do for work, what you're trying to accomplish there at work, if I know what your recreational activities are, your hobbies, what you're into, and then ultimately your dreams, and real estate agents, listen up, because you play a huge part in people's dreams. You're helping them find the biggest asset of their life, their dream home, where they're going to raise their families, right? So you're a huge part of that. When you know this information, now you have more of a personal relationship with people. And this business is belly to belly. It's a relationship business, right? We all know that. And so now you know how to communicate with them. Because imagine, Amanda, my wife, and I are having our first kid in February. Now you wake up today and you go, I'm going to do a 5 for 5. I coach my clients all the time, do a 5 for 5. What does that mean? Take 5 minutes, pick 5 people, reach out to them personally. You then text Megan this morning or go to her Facebook wall because you don't have her number. And you go, Megan, was thinking about you this morning. Hope you and Luke are doing well. Congrats on your little girl coming in February. Mm-hmm. What people don't understand is that that's so much more powerful than any form of marketing collateral of a just listed, just sold market update report, because it's personal and it's relevant and it's impactful. And then here's the last element that you have to have in your marketing, because you just don't need a bunch of good friends, right? You don't need Megan as a best friend. You need more business too, right? So you don't mind having all the friends, but you want more business. So it's not just about consistency and impact. It's about branding yourself as the business of trust. So now if you've successfully been in front of your audience consistently, where they see your face, your podcast, right? They see your ad on Facebook. They see your magazine coming through the mail, but you also have focused on impact. You're not just spamming them with a just listed, just sold transaction report, all those things. Then all of a sudden they like you. Now you want to move into the trust category. So there's 3 ways to build trust, in my opinion, very simply. Like there's more ways, but these are very simple that you can do. One is build trust by showcasing your accolades, right? So now that you've made impact, now showcase that you're super active in the market. How many past sales do you have? Or have you won any awards? Like, for us, we've been on the Inc. 5000 for years, right? Or we've been in the top 100. Me just saying that naturally for the audience will build credibility. Right? Because no one really, like some people might know who I am, but a lot of people don't. But once they hear, oh, wow, Luke runs a company with 220 employees. He has, 38,000 clients. He's on the Inc. 5000. All these elevate my credibility and trust. But people don't just care about you bragging, right? So they don't care what you say about you. They care what your clients say about you. So the second way to build trust is showcase what your clients say about you through client testimonials or a case study, right? If I share with you that Jane Shaw, my client, picked up an $800,000 investment. She's a financial advisor client for me. $800,000 financial investment from a turkey recipe in our magazine. It's so much more powerful when I share or have Jane share her story on video or share her story on a Facebook review, because now you're hearing it from Jane, not just me, and the credibility goes up. And then the last, and I'll wrap up with this, is build credibility and trust through education. So all of us are asked frequently asked questions, right? We're all asked the same questions over and over again. You have the knowledge, so give that knowledge away for free. Yeah. Meaning, like, what are the questions that you get asked about the mortgage rates? What are the questions you get asked about contract negotiation? What are the questions you get asked about, is it a good time to sell right now, or is it a good time to hold, right? So give that education away and do it in all the mediums. Write a blog about it, film a video about it, go Facebook Live about it, do a post on Instagram about it, do all the different mediums. And what you're going to find is when you have all these things happening, I'm consistently in front of Amanda. I'm personally making impact with her by giving her value, not just transactional related stuff. And then I come back around with education, accolades, and testimonials from my clients. All of a sudden, I've become the business that Amanda thinks of when it comes to marketing or when it comes to real estate, right? Whatever industry you're in. So I know that's a lot thrown out there, but yeah.
Which is why that we would hire that out, because that is so
exactly.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, I've lately, well, just in the last 6 months, I've had a huge growth in my team, and like, so my strategy has changed. Kind of really just going through like a rebuild. Even with this podcast, we went through a rebrand. I recognized that I wasn't niching down enough, and specifically with the podcast. And so for me, the real estate was getting a little exhausting, and I was like, something's got to change. Otherwise, I need to be done. And I don't want to throw away, 7 years of growing a business. So I was like, time to reevaluate. And really just, I feel like I've spent so many years trying to grow this amazing team. And then it's like, once I decided to stop, then all of a sudden the right people showed up and have really just been rock stars for me. And so for the first time in my whole career, I've been releasing that consistent showing up more frequently with impactful content that really ties in that lifestyle piece, but then also the community, lifestyle, health. And then, of course, then also tying in the positioning myself as a leader in my industry.
Love it.
And this has been something brand new that I just started doing in the last couple of months. And I know the rules. 90 days minimum with continued effort before you really start to see that bell curve kind of go up. And just on, I don't remember what day it was, Friday, I got 2 phone calls within an hour of each other that were people that were calling me to interview me for their real estate agent because a friend of theirs, a colleague or what have you, who's on my email list, told them about me. And that's
so awesome.
Like, that's in, 1 hour period. I'm like, that was a huge win. And I would have never been able to do that if it weren't for the help of my team. And like having someone like Reminder Media just be able to show up consistently for you is a huge thing. And I remember the person that helps me with my content creation, Kelsey, she's amazing. Shout out Kelsey. She's like, you really need to be doing more video. And I'm like, oh, I know, but I don't wanna. Like, no one wants to do video, but we have to. Video is king. And because she's taking so many things off my plate, I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do video. I mean, this is video right now. But it's also, this is the educational piece of it, which is so much fun. And it has made it more fun. It's made the industry more fun. Connecting with people that actually know what they're talking about has made it more fun. I mean, I don't know. The marketing industry, much like the real estate industry, changes like that.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
And if you expect to be able to stay on top of all the industries that you would need to be a professional in order to have a successful business, goodbye. Like, there's no way. It's impossible. I'm not going to pretend to be a marketing strategy, a content marketing strategist, because I just don't have the capacity for it. So I love what you guys are doing. And I don't really know if I had a question there, but I just think it's awesome.
I think it's amazing that, like, what you said there also is that you've been at it for 7 years. I think there's a huge principle there for people to really grab hold of, is that, man, everything in life, if it's good, it's going to be hard, right? And it's going to take effort, and it's going to take a long time, and anything worth doing is worth doing well, right? And I interviewed a guy the other day on our podcast that had been creating videos for 5 years. He's up to 2,000 videos on YouTube. He's in the insurance space, and he has now just started getting traction. Think about that. 5 years, 2,000 videos, And now he's just starting to get traction. Our own podcast, Stay Paid, this is just being real. We've been at it for 3 years. We're just now starting to get traction with our own podcast. So what I'm sharing and what you're sharing, which is I think gold, this is not something that we're not practicing ourselves, is going, hey, I remember when we first did Stay Paid, our first video content, like my mom listened, Josh's mom listened, our employees, no one else, right? And it's brutal to go back and listen to, but you keep going. You consistently put it out there. You give. It's more about impact than it's about taking. And then you brand yourself strategically as the business of trust by showcasing your education, what your clients say about you, and maybe your accolades. And all of a sudden, people start looking up to you. And people want to buy from people that they look up to. They don't want to buy from people they look down on. So you just got to stay consistent.
And showing up. I always go back to just showing up all the time, because the way that you show up is going to change and evolve over time. Like when I go back and I listen to like my first podcast episode, or I'm a professional vocalist as well. So I'm a singer. And when I go back and I hear some of my singing, I'm like, oh, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Like, I don't want to hear it. And that's okay. But I was brave enough to show up and put it out there, knowing that it wasn't going to be perfect. But you just gain that momentum, and it has a compounded effect over time. And like, I don't feel like I have excellent interview skills. And after listening to your podcast 6 episodes last night, I was like, I'm absolutely terrified to interview this guy, because he's really good at this. And Chris isn't here to save me from my weird awkwardness.
No, your weird awkwardness, as you would call it, is what makes you who you are. It attracts your tribe. You know that. Meaning, like, it's like your vibe will attract your tribe, and that's just so good. Meaning, like, I love what you're doing, because it's a testament to what every business owner should be doing out there. Maybe it doesn't come in the form of a podcast, right, for them, but it should come in the form of some piece of content that they're doubling down on, that they're giving their all in to give back. And don't mind the haters. Like, I would tell people, like, I shared this on a video the other day of, man, I have an ad running right now on Facebook. I'm getting so much hate on this ad. Like, you suck, your company sucks, your product sucks, all this stuff, right? So I text my marketing director and I go, hey, man, just check this ad, because I don't care about the hate, but just want to make sure we're not wasting money, right? It's our best performing ad, ladies and gentlemen. It has our lowest cost per lead. We're running like 69 plus ads on Facebook right now. It's our lowest cost per lead per ad. And the reality of it is, what it shows you is that, look, you're always going to have your haters, and you're going to have the people that like you. And the haters, they're going to attract like conversation. It's going to engagement, right? They say all attention is good attention. And just my encouragement to everybody out there is not to just, it's just ignore the haters and just realize you're going to have people that hate on what you do. And your content's not going to be perfect, but that's okay, because when you keep going, you will attract the tribe based upon what you put out there. And if you wear a suit one day, you're the weird guy that wears a suit to work only one day when no one else does. If you wear a suit for 90 days, all of a sudden you become the guy that's, oh, no, that's how Luke dresses. He wears suits, right? Yeah, so that's what you got to be in business. You got to be consistent.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a personal question for my business, because again, like, I'll be perfectly honest. I've completely restructured and how I'm doing things, and I recognize that I'm only one person, and the quality of service that I was giving was starting to go down, because I wasn't taking very good care of myself, because I was so spread thin, wearing too many hats, playing way too many roles. Is it possible to take a referral only approach and really just, I know that in real estate, you really need to be creating different areas of lead generation, but do you think it's possible for someone to just really organically and gently grow into a sphere of influence, referral only type business through this method that you're talking about, so that My biggest thing is I really don't like internet leads, mostly because I
Yep.
don't like to be on call. I know after listening to one of your podcasts that you really need the speed to lead used to be 5 minutes.
Yep. Now it's even
And
less.
now it's like 5 seconds. And I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I don't want to do that. Like I
Yep.
used to do the Zillow leads. I used to do all that and I hated my life. I love it when people call me and go, "Hey, Keith just told me to call you." I was like, "Oh, I love Keith.
Yeah.
Keith did my bathroom." Those are my favorite. So,
Yep.
different strategies and different approaches. Like, how would you
No,
address
yeah, it's a great question. Here's the reality. It's like, what do you want out of your business and out of your life? Right.
that?
And then you go, what are you willing to sacrifice or do to
Mhm.
achieve that? And I don't know your personal goals, but this would be my challenge to you and challenge to everybody is that you absolutely can have a phenomenal business by referral only. And
Absolutely.
anybody that tells you no, they got rockstar brains. It might take you a while to
Mhm.
build up because you got to build that sphere of influence, but you can 100% get to a place in your business where you have a great business where you're actually making maybe less money than the top producer who's on Zillow and Facebook and
But
doing the
that's
cold
okay
calls and
because your
everything. But
overhead is 75% less.
your overhead 75%. And guess what? You might be just as happy at 80K a year or 120K a year as that person
Totally.
at 300K a year. So you really have to look at what you want and don't get caught up in the rat race or the hamster wheel
Mm,
of trying to be somebody that you don't even want to be. Like, why do you
mhm.
want to earn an extra 20 grand doing these cold calls if it doesn't add anything to your life? But here's what I will challenge you with the caveat to that, right? Is that you must be willing to do hard things in order to achieve great things.
Yeah.
And the cold calling or the door knocking or the introducing yourself to someone at the grocery store or the gym or all those things, that's hard. And you're not alone. And most people, that's hard. Like you're stepping out of your comfort zone to do those things. And there's seasons that you have to do that in your life in order to achieve what you want. And
Mhm.
so my answer to you is that you 100% can have referral focused only business and have a great business, but you might find yourself at a level where, wow, I'm not achieving more. And you might go, I actually want to make 200K. And you're going to have to diversify because statistically speaking, if you look at the National Association of Realtors, their data last year, what they put out is that 63% of the listings that happened last year came from referral or repeat business. I think it was 54% of the buyer transactions came from referral repeat business. Well, if you just apply that to your business, that means you're going to need more business if you want to hit. There's so many other avenues. There's 40+% of the deals out there that are happening not by referral and not by repeat business. And they're happening from yard signs, open houses, internet leads. And so for you, you've got to look at your business and go, am I making the income I want? And if I'm not, why am I not getting more referrals? Is there something I can tweak in my process and my system to get more referrals to network with my sphere? Or what strategy else that I can add that will get me more leads in another avenue? Internet leads, Facebook, farming, all these other avenues that you can go after. But it's a personal choice because it really comes down to, do you want, what type of money you want to make, and can your database sustain that money, if that makes sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally. I'm just like, I'm so bitter about social media on a regular basis.
Well, here's what, change your mindset this way. What I mean by that is that if you call these people and reach out to these people trying to close a transaction, it's going to be brutal. If you reach out to them just introducing yourself and trying to help and build a relationship,
Mhm.
it's going to help you a lot more. Now, the pain point comes in when you pay $3,000 a month for Zillow and you're calling these leads and they're terrible leads. And you're like, oh my gosh, they're like top of funnel leads. They're not ready to buy. I feel like I've wasted my money. But I have found that if you stick with those people and if you nurture them and you go and you're trying to help and not sell, solve problems, not necessarily sell them a certain product, you will find over time that it will pay off if you stay with them consistently.
Yeah, because what is the conversion length of, I know that you probably have a pretty good idea about these things. I mean, you need to work consistently. Some of these leads, when a buyer first goes online and starts looking at property, they might not be, they might not
It
close.
might be 14 months out
Right.
before they're buying, right? It might be 14 months out before they're buying. What we like, we just ran an ad on Facebook for my brother's real estate business. And he spent like $1,500. He got like 272 leads, right? So just to give you the idea of the numbers, like 272 leads, $1,500. So great cost per lead, right? He has two that are under contract right now. And he says 3 to 5 potential buyers, right, from this program. But if you think about it in context, that's 272 people that he had to call in text, in email. They were not picking up. They were not getting on the phone. He had to send videos to 272 people, doing it a minimum of probably 9 times per person to get two. And when you're in the heat of that and you're like, man, I'm spending $1,500 and you're in the heat of that, it feels really bad. But right now he feels really good because he got two under contract. But so the hard part about real estate a lot of times is that the problem is not necessarily lead generation, it's really lead conversion. And the lead conversion is all in the consistency of how often you actually follow up and how often you're willing to actually reach out to them through email, through phone, through text message, through social media. And that's where most people fall down is they'll get $272. They'll spend $1,500, just say with me, get 272 leads. And they won't successfully follow up with those leads to get the two contracts that were in there.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't even imagine how much money I've left on the table over the years.
It's the frustration and guilt that we all feel. Even myself, even my own sales team. This is the pot calling the kettle black. I have 100+ people on the phones. And I even find days where I look and I go, man, we haven't nurtured these leads. Like we haven't called them. We haven't followed up enough. And it's like it happens in all of our businesses.
Yeah.
And then I have to step back and go, okay, what's the process? Where did it break down? Have I not made it easy enough for my salesperson to actually make the follow-up calls? Do I not have the email templates created that we can send very easily? Like I have to just break it down myself and go, how can I make it systematic and easy to replicate over and over again so I can track and then I can pivot? Because the key is action, track, pivot. That's the key.
Also, another thing you say a lot on your podcast is the thing that separates good agents from great agents or just taking action. What was it?
Yep.
You're saying
top producers versus mediocre producers. Yep, they take action. The way I came up with that is we've worked in, now it's over 160 different industries with Reminder Media. So we've serviced over 80,000 businesses in over 160 different industries. And what I've recognized about the really, really successful people is it's not their intellect. It's not their necessarily like personality or ability. It's they actually do. Mm-hmm. So many of us talk, so many of us dream. They actually do. And what you find is that the doing refines your processes. Like a doer always outpaces the person who's trying to find the magic system. There's just none out there. There's no magic systems. It's discipline.
Totally. And going back to what you were saying, how Tom Ferry was talking about, making a list of the things that you like to do. There's something really similar that I did a while ago. The unique ability finder through Colby, I believe. Okay. And this was years and years ago that I did this. And basically it has you sit down and you list the things that you are in your highest and, you're in flow, you're feeling it, you're really good at it. And then you go down the list, but there's always going to be things that you don't want to do that you have to do in any business. And I think for me, that's video. I think that's for a lot of people, but I know that if I start showing up more consistently with video, that's just going to have that really long-term compounded effect over time. And it really kind of comes down to, the 80-20 rule, 80%, if you can try to find a way to be in that state of flow or 80% of the time, and then the other 20% of the time you're like, all right, time to buckle down and get to work, I think that you probably would do all right. But a lot
Yeah,
of people,
you would.
they don't see, and I just met with a young, well, not a young, she's actually my age. Someone that someone that wants to get into real estate, and I just had to sit her down and be completely realistic, and I'm like, listen, building a business is a big pain. It's
Yeah.
hard work, and it doesn't matter what business it is. Building any business is hard. And so the only advice that I had to her was just make sure that's the business you want to build.
Yep.
Like, is it
Yeah.
your,
Make sure your why is aligned,
yeah,
because your why is what will get you up and get you moving when the contract falls through for the fifth time. It's
yeah,
only your why. If your why is big enough and your goal is big enough that you can actually lean on and go back to. You have to have a massive why, a purpose, a goal that you're setting for yourself, because it's very hard when you hit the failure. I remember when we lost like $1.4 million in an account because we had a mishap here. And I remember that day and just going like, oh my gosh, it felt like the world was ending. Right. But we got through it. Right. We
yeah,
got through it. And it's because it's the only thing that's going to get you through those things is that you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a vision for your life and what you're trying to achieve. And you have to lean on that because you will get out of it. Every valley leads to, another mountaintop basically. And so you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going.
amen. Amen to that. So I'm going to wrap it up with a few questions.
Sure.
What is your why?
Love that. So ultimately, our company's why, Life of Freedom, is really comes from my personal why. So I'm really passionate about empowering people to live a life of freedom, right? So in the business world, I do that through helping people make money, right? So I help entrepreneurs close more deals, retain more business. Because if they can do that, they can get commission checks. If they get commission checks, they can send their kids to the schools they want them to go to. They can go on the vacations they want to go to. They can live in the places they want to live. So I'm really passionate about helping entrepreneurs make more money and doing that through closing deals. But the life of freedom for me transcends that. And this is just for me personally, is I want to help people find more relevant purpose in their life. And for me personally, that's Jesus. Jesus has been, my purpose, and he saved me. And so I want to point people to a greater purpose that is called upon their life that they can have and a freedom that they can have in Christ. And so it kind of transcends, Life of Freedom transcends both business for me, but also goes spiritual.
Awesome. That's beautiful. What are some of your favorite stress management practices? Being the president
Punching,
of a big
punching a
company.
wall. No. So I love the gym. I wasn't a gym person, but I really, really advocate now. I try to get up at 4 a.m., get to the gym by 4:30. The early doesn't necessarily matter. That's just for me, but the stress relief and relief that it gives me and the health. And then also it's one of the places where I can actually think. Like I'm not getting pounded by the phone. I'm, exercising and I can actually think. That's a big one for me. I always share this with people when there's something out of tune in my life, stress, whatever it is. I go to the three things that I know I have to focus on: body, mind, and spirit. So my body is, am I eating healthy? Am I drinking enough water? Am I getting in the gym? Right. My mind is, what am I feeding my mind? Right. Am I feeding my mind Tiger King, keeping up with the Kardashians? Right. What am I binge watching on Netflix right now? Or am I feeding my mind good things, things that will grow? Right. Not just watching things, but who am I hanging out with? Right. You're the sum of the six people you hang out with. Am I hanging around people that elevate me or that bring me down? And so I look at that, and then I look at spirit, and that spirit is like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I living someone else's purpose for my life, or am I living the purpose that I was called to for my life? And I always look at those three things and try to execute when I'm stressed out or in a rut, or I always look and I go, there's something off in my body, mind, and spirit. And I try to look and see what that is and then try to adjust.
Awesome. You are on it. So you kind of touched on a little bit, but what is your morning routine?
So I wake up at 4 a.m., usually 4 a.m., 4:15, get to the gym around 4:30, 4:45, somewhere in there, work out for about an hour, come straight from the gym to my office, obviously shower, eat a little breakfast sometimes. And then what I like to do in the morning is I actually like to look at kind of what's going on in the industries that I serve in. So I like to I'm on email lists for, like, for example, real estate, Inman News, right? So I like seeing what's going on and happening there. I like going to Facebook and reading all the comments that we've gotten and trying to get a feel for, because that's how I get connected to what's going on with our client base or our prospects and respond and do some DM stuff. Then usually by 7:45, I'm about to head into my first meeting of the day. So I usually always have a meeting at 8 a.m. Or a little earlier, and it's usually a morning huddle with managers or leaders on my team. And I would encourage, if you have a team, you should do a morning huddle every day. It really changed the game for our business. Every one of my teams across all the departments do a morning huddle every day. And so it's not just the sales teams for a rah-rah, it's every team, because it gets you connected, especially in a virtual world like we're living in today. Gets you more connected, gets you more in sync, make sure that everybody realizes you're important, you have a mission that's important, and we sound like a broken record, but remember, consistency breeds familiarity. So the more consistent I can share the vision, the more consistent I can talk about what we're trying to accomplish every single day, the more we'll be reminded of it. And so we go into a morning huddle. At that point, after my management huddles, we go into team morning huddles. And then from there, my day is a myriad of different things. It's all over the board, depending on what's been scheduled. I'm blessed to have an incredible assistant. So she runs so much of my day, which is amazing. And, it helps me to be able to focus on the present of what I'm in and not have to think out 3 meetings from now. So not everybody's blessed with that, I have to admit, but I'm blessed with it. So it's pretty awesome.
And I'll just end with what is your recent or most recent or all-time favorite book?
Okay. Bear with me here. All-time favorite book is the Bible. And here's why I say it. I think for people, if you read like Proverbs, the business principles and leadership principles and relationship principles you get is unreal. It's unmatched what you can get in there, because it's really about relationships and people.
Yes.
So that's probably my all-time favorite book. In terms of recently, what have I really loved recently? Atomic Habits. It's a great book. Atomic Habits. Trying to get into your habits really control your life. So you are a product of your habits and how to actually have good habits. Extreme Ownership. We actually had Jocko come and speak to the company. So I read that recently again. And he's unbelievable. He's the one that really has given me the perspective so much more clearer of discipline equals true freedom. You first have to be disciplined to gain what you want. And he uses the example of time. You want more free time? Be more structured in the time that you're given. Because the only way to get more free time is to be more structured in your time management and the time that you're given. So discipline will lead to more freedom, which is what you ultimately desire. So that's a great one I'd encourage everybody to read.
Yeah. Well, Luke, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, you and Buddy back there, the dog on the couch.
I mean, seriously, this was a lot of amazing nuggets. I have a whole page of notes here. I can't wait to see how your business has already been growing. I know that you guys are, what's the name of your podcast again?
It's called Stay Paid.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that for any real estate agent, or actually I know you work with a lot of industries. What's your favorite industry to work with?
I can't say I'm biased towards any industry, but my heart is heavy in real estate. So I'm heavy in investing in real estate. My brother is a real estate agent, so I have a heart for real estate for sure. But obviously love all the industries, but real estate really gets my heart.
Awesome. Well, where can people find out more about you other than, it says it right there on your shirt, Reminder Media?
Yeah, Reminder Media. You can check out the company Reminder Media. I would love all you listeners. I would love to connect with you on Instagram. Like if you're on Instagram or Facebook, both are okay. I would love to connect with you. It's at Luke Acree. So Luke and then Acree is spelled Acree. So Acre with an extra E. And if you find me, I'm trying to be way more active in there, trying to connect with people, talk to people, want to learn more about what's going on with you. I'm trying to be more open about what we've learned. I mean, I've wasted millions of dollars. So there's a lot of lessons learned in the waste, but I've also, been successful in certain areas and trying to share that as well. Just to be more open and connect more and build the network and give back, because I know it all comes back around as well.
Totally. Awesome. Well, and good luck. Best of luck with your baby. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
February.
so now I have to go get a shotgun. That's what I was told. So.
Well, best of luck with that. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm super thrilled to have you.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Awesome.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon.